Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over another big snowstorm for portions of the upper Great Lakes and upper Midwest as well as portions of the Northeast. We're going to be dealing with two systems that are basically interconnected that are going to be affecting each other. We're going to go over both of them. We're going to go over some of the model data for these two storms, and we're also going to be talking about how windy and cold it will be as we get in advance of the storm and during this storm. Now, we won't have a snowfall forecast, an official one, in today's video. Tomorrow we're gonna have the November forecast, and on November 1st we're gonna have the winter forecast, the updated winter forecast. So we won't have a official snowfall forecast out until November 2nd, and the storm will be taking place through the 2nd and the 3rd. So I'm gonna try and do a snowfall forecast as we get to November 2nd. That's the next update that'll be on the storm. We're gonna be going over again some of that model data, and this is gonna be a very chilly and cold system that is going to be also driving up those winds, where you could have some wind speeds that are closer to 50, maybe even 55 miles per hour over much of the Northeast. So here's the current National Weather Service page. We have freeze warnings in effect for portions of Connecticut, Long Island, southern upstate New York, and much of eastern and southern New Jersey, as well as southern Pennsylvania and northern Maryland, as well as much of Delaware and into northernmost Virginia. We also see some frost advisories further to the south of there in portions of Maryland and Virginia and Kentucky and Indiana, as well as some more freeze warnings in effect for parts of Ohio and Indiana. We see high wind watches in effect for portions of the Dakotas and Wyoming, as well as some high wind warnings in effect for portions of northern Montana. We see wind advisories in that lighter brown for portions of Montana and Washington, and we also see some air quality alerts in effect for parts of Montana, Idaho, and Washington, as well as a little bit of California there. And other than that, there's not a lot going on in terms of watches and warnings. I forgot to say that there are also freeze watches in effect for parts of western North Carolina. So here is the National Weather Service's forecast for the low temperatures tonight, because this will set the stage for the system that's going to be moving through right around the 2nd or the 3rd of November. We have a big upper trough which is currently dipping down into the eastern United States, and that will stay there. It'll move out, and then we'll see another one that dips back into the eastern United States again, kind of like this, and that'll bring in a lot of cold air, and that'll also drive up those winds. So you're going to have some very strong winds coming out of the northwest and also the north, and that's going to allow quite a bit of lake effect to go on for the areas surrounding the Great Lakes, and some areas could even pick up half a foot of just lake effect, as well as another system which is going to come back and bring more snow to these regions. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of snowfall over the next 5 or so days for these regions, and that's added on to the snowstorm which you guys already saw for these regions that was just this morning and last night. So here would be the European model, then we'll look at the GFS model, and then we'll look at how cold and windy those conditions are going to be. So here would be by November 1st, Sunday, during the morning hours, and we're dealing with a little bit of lake effect and some snowfall just from the system that's moving through parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the UP of Michigan. We see that big system up in portions of Ontario, Canada, and that will be moving further to the east. What we're also seeing is a big cold front right behind it, and that's indicating that we have those cold temperatures behind the system, and that's going to allow some of that snowfall on the backside of the system. We're also dealing with very strong winds that are coming out like this, and if you notice, that's kind of the direction that you need to blow lake effect through the lakes. You have extremely warm lakes right now that are near 60 degrees in terms of their water temperature. If you have cold air moving over warm air, you end up getting some of that warm air to rise, and then that comes back down to the surface as rainfall or snowfall, depending on how cold or warm those temperatures are. Let's play this through. Here would be by Sunday, right around, I would say 8 a.m. Eastern time, and some of that snowfall is moderate to heavy over northern Michigan and parts of the upper Great Lakes. And then as we get to Sunday, right around, I would say probably around 2 p.m. Eastern time, time on November 1st, we're looking at some of that rain ahead of the front that's moving through portions of the eastern United States. But then we see a lot of that snowfall on the northern side of this storm. And this is just going to be part one of the two systems that we're going to be talking about in today's video. Here will be by Sunday evening, and then as we get to right around 2 a.m. on Monday, we're dealing with some higher elevation snowfall and also some snowfall for the western regions of Pennsylvania and upstate New York, as well as parts of Ohio and West Virginia there. And then as we get to Monday morning, November 2nd, we're dealing with a lot of snowfall there for portions of the interior parts of the Northeast. So from Maine down through western Pennsylvania, parts of West Virginia, and into parts of Maryland there, that's where we're dealing with a lot of that snowfall. And some of this is lake effect driven, where you do actually have a little bit of lake effect going down. And the lake effect is going to reach fairly far to the coast. I don't think it's going to reach all the way to the coast. I think it'll be kind of, this will be the boundary point. But because of how strong those winds are, these are the type of days where you can get a couple of those squall lines to move all the way down to fairly close to the coast. So just beware of that. You will have a couple snow showers within the area if you do live along the coast. So that's just something to keep an eye on. And then here to be by Monday night, it's starting to move out, but now we're looking at another system which is back here that's going to split off from this other upper trough, which is further to the north. This one will move down further to the south and potentially bring a little bit more snowfall to these regions, and we'll see how that one plays out. So here to be by Monday night, and then as we get to Tuesday evening, we see that storm dipping out of Canada. This is our second system. We see this first one, a very wrapped up upper low that has rain showers going down to the Bahamas and Cuba. You see that huge frontal system that goes all the way up into Canada, and then your low pressure system is up there near southeastern Canada. So this is a massive system that's moving through, and this is going to be a very big player into our weather pattern. Now here would be by Tuesday morning, and then as we get to Tuesday early afternoon, it's really wrapping up by this point. It's all said and done with as you get to Tuesday night, according to the European model. Now here to be the European model's snowfall depiction for this, and we're seeing near coating to a couple inches in that gray, and then as you get to those blues, that's 2 to 6 inches and 6 to 10 inches in the purples. Something to keep in mind, most of the snowfall for portions of southeastern New England is not because of the storm, it's because of the storm which is currently ongoing, and that's mainly just from the storm which is currently ongoing, so it's not going to be related to this other system that we're talking about. So basically, I would subtract about 75% of what you see in southeastern New England from your total, and you'll probably only see a dusting or so in southeastern New England. For much of the rest of the Northeast, you see a couple of higher amounts in northern Maine, parts of the interior Northeast, so northern New England, upstate New York, and most of your snowfall is going to be lake effect enhanced, but it'll also be because of the system that dips through. And you can see over upstate New York where you get hit by both systems, that one that dips out of Canada and that other one which is that huge massive system that rolls through. You get hit with both of them, and you could potentially see a couple areas that get 2 to 4 inches of snowfall. Let's start talking about what the GFS is showing for this event. Now, we start to see that system dip out of Canada, and we start to see a little bit of snow precipitation for parts of the northern UP of Michigan, as well as parts of northern Wisconsin and northern Minnesota. And then as we get to Sunday, November 1st, in the evening hours, much of Michigan experiencing snowfall, as well as parts of the lower Great Lakes. And then as we get to right around, this would be right around Sunday night, as you're getting to Monday morning, November 2nd. November 1st into November 2nd. Now we're looking at quite a bit of lake effect still, and you can really tell that those isobars are packed closely together, and what that indicates is that you have a lot of you have a large pressure gradient, which in turn means that you're going to have a lot of winds move through. We see a 993 low pressure system, and then we see a 1034 high pressure system. So that's around a 40 millibar pressure difference that's moving through, 41 millibars, and we're seeing that play out. We have a high pressure out in the central plains, and we have a very strong low pressure system in parts of the Northeast, and that's not too far of a distance, and that's going to compress all your winds through this narrow area from parts of New England into parts of the Tennessee Valley, and those winds will be very strong, and you can tell they're kind of shaped like this. So that's the way that your lake effect will be moving through, and your lake effect will be blowing most likely into the southeast. Now here would be by Monday morning, and then as we get to Monday evening, we're dealing with most of that snowfall for portions of northern New England there. Some scattered snow showers still around, but mainly it's all said and done with that first system as we get to Tuesday. Then as we get to Tuesday, we see that second system move through portions of upstate New York, and then look what happens. We see that system move further to the south and to the east, and eventually it'll move off to sea. Here's that total snowfall forecast from the GFS model. Again, most of that snowfall for southeastern New England is because of that system that's going on right now. But most of this snowfall right here is because of that system that'll be moving through over the next 3 or 4 days. And we see a lot of areas that are 2+ inches in snowfall totals, and that's mainly because of the lake effect enhanced snowfall. A couple of areas in northern New Hampshire and Maine getting over 6 inches of snowfall. So this could potentially bring close to 4 or 5, maybe even 6 inches of snowfall to portions of the interior Northeast. It's just exactly where that happens. That's going to be something that we still have to figure out. Now here would be those maximum wind gusts from all of these systems. So most of these wind gusts are going to be from the system that's happening right around November 2nd or November 3rd, and that's mainly over parts of the Northeast. That's mainly going to be right around 50 miles per hour. This is in knots, so you have to add around 10 miles per hour or so, and you would get right around 50 to 55 miles per hour for some of these regions, and those are going to be your gusts. So you might have sustained winds near 30 miles per hour, so definitely that is going to be an issue. Also, if you have some heavy wet snow for portions of the interior Northeast, that could bring down some trees. If you have that snow and the wind driving across the tree, that could definitely bring down some of those trees. So that's something that you have to keep an eye on. Now here would be the European ensemble model, just to show you these temperature anomalies, because they will be very frigid. Here would be right around right now when I'm recording this, and then here would be by tomorrow, Saturday, and we're looking at those cold temperatures overtaking the eastern United States. But what you really have to look at is up there in central and western Canada. That's where your cold air is. And then if we continue this forward, that cold air dips into portions of the central United States as you get to November 1st. Then by the 2nd, it's well into parts of the eastern United States by that point. And then as we get to November 3rd, it's pretty much overtaken much of the eastern United States. But after this, luckily, if you guys do like warmer weather, you will have a little bit of warm air that looks to overtake much of the weather pattern for the next 10 or 15 days of November after that. So here would just be by November 4th, and you start to see that cold air start to kind of be suppressed a little bit, and it starts to head further south and east and really gets out of the United States, and eventually would be overtaken by those warmer temperatures. So hopefully that does help you guys, and I will update this forecast most likely around November 2nd, depending on if anything changes and if this is still in the models. I've seen this in pretty much all the models that I've seen, at least some sort of snowfall for these regions. So I just wanted to update you guys on this. Tomorrow, again, the November forecast comes out, and then as we get to November 1st, Sunday, that's when the winter forecast, the 5th winter forecast, comes out. So make sure that you have your notifications turned on, make sure you are subscribed, and make sure you leave a like on the video so you never miss another upload, and so that you don't miss those videos. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.